Just got through watching Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. You may ask yourself, what took you so long, dude? Well, life. I got so many things going on that I didn't get around to watching it. Also, there was a little bit of thing about Bruce Lee not being portrayed accurately in this film. And I still stand by that. It was nothing but caricature, the mannerisms. I mean, you know, what did this guy do to research the role? Did he just watch all of Bruce Lee's films, looked at all of his caricatures, and I mean the characters, but his mannerisms, and then decide I'm going to put all those in that little bitty scene that I have with Brad Pitt? Like Mo, hey, you got the accent down, you got his voice down, but you look like a damn clone of Bruce Lee. All those movies after Bruce Lee's death, where it was his clones, people they were trying to make the next Bruce Lee. They even added Jackie Chan in that. They're trying to make him the next Bruce Lee. That's what it looked like. He looked like this guy that from I think it was the movie called, you know, Bruce Lee Fights from the Grave. It's like one of those silly, exploit, exploitation flicks. You know what I mean? Like he was fighting, Cliff, right? Brad Pitt's a character, and he's doing all that, and I go, guarantee you, Bruce Lee didn't do that when he fought. You know what I mean? And the fight scene, why is it that he's able to go blow for blow with him? He's able to block everything Bruce Lee did. He gets thrown against a car. And it's just like, I get it, when Tarantino said that Bruce Lee was arrogant, he was cocky like that, so that's why he did it. But it's like, there's a difference between arrogance and confidence. Bruce Lee had confidence. Was he arrogant? Maybe at times, but never to the point of being the way he was in this film, and we see him in that scene, and we see him in a flashback scene with Sharon Tate. Sharon Tate's watching herself, in the theater, in the movie The Wrecking Crew, and she's in a scene with Nancy Kwan. And then you see her kind of smiling, and then you see a little flashback with her trading kicks and punches with Bruce Lee, training with him. And it's well known that, yeah, he did do choreography in Hollywood, and this is one of the films that he worked on. And he worked on a number of films and a number of TV shows, doing choreography, guest appearances, all that. The main thing of this film is, we see it sprinkled throughout, is the Manson family. You see interaction with Brad Pitt's character visiting their compound. It used to be a place where he did films. And of course, the whole film, you see also Leonardo DiCaprio's character, Rick Dalton. He's borderline a washed up actor. His TV series has long been done. And he's looking to work. He ends up going to do those spaghetti westerns. He does 4 of them. He brings home an Italian bride. We see interaction between him and one girl from the Manson family. And in here, to kind of tie that in, you see some cameos in here of some notable characters from the past, entertainment, Hollywood. On that, we see Steve McQueen, we see Mama Cass Elliot, Michelle Phillips. They both are from the Mamas and Papas. Then we see an actor who plays Jay Sebring, who was a Hollywood stylist, hairstylist at the time. And we see a cameo from a hairy armpit. Ugh. Man, when I saw that, I'm like, put your arm down, girl. It's that scene when she lays her head back on Brad Pitt's lap, and then she puts her arm up, and it's just like a whole patch of hair. And that was in vogue back then, there was nothing wrong with that back then. Now I tend to not want to look at that. It was like, ooh, like, put your arm down, girl, put your arm down. But let's get to the whole thing with the Tate murders now. I'm watching this film. We see the build-up of Tex Watson and the other two girls that were with him. They decide that they're going to kill some piggies because they taught them growing up when they were watching TV to murder, according to the one girl. So she's the one that said, let's go kill them. Tex agrees, and so the other girl agrees. And as they're going up there, and I like how Tarantino built the tension. You're thinking, oh hell, this is where we see Sharon Tate, Jay Sebring, Abigail Folger, and others, be murdered. Now I know that there was the La Bianca. They were killed on another day, I believe, but I know they were not with those guys. I believe they were murdered first, and then Sharon Tate. So I'm feeling sad. Margot Robbie is so amazingly just perfect for the role. She has the energy, she's dancing, she's smiling, she's spinning around. And even her sister, I read, loved her performance. She didn't want to leave the set because she says that she was so accurate in her performance that she was seeing her sister. And that's sad that, it's just that she just didn't want to leave. And it's sad for someone who lost her sister. She was only 16 at the time when she lost her sister. So it's just so heartbreaking that she's like, she didn't want to leave the set because she's seeing her sister on the set in the form of Margot Robbie. But, we're seeing the whole thing of them going up the driveway. And I'm like going, you feel sad because you're just like, God, that any moment now their lives are going to be snuffed out. You see Margot Robbie as Sharon Tate, pregnant, about ready to burst. I mean, she was glowing. And you just know that her and her baby are not going to make it through the night. We then see Tex Watson and the other two break into, house of Brad Pitt's character. And you're thinking that at first, what thing about it though is that you're saying to yourself, well, I know that there wasn't a mention of any other people killed. So are they going to have him be killed just as a way of letting us see how ruthless they are? Killing these guys, killing when he would eventually go on to kill people. Now, Cliff Booth, he smoked acid-laced cigarette, a joint, whatever type of a cigarette that was, but you're starting to feel the effects. You see him hand like this, going like that. And I can imagine in theaters people laughing their ass off. I would have been. This is so trippy to see the effects that it had on him. And he was just standing off with Tex, that real, that gun, he's even pointing his finger at him. And I remember you guys because he made a visit to their compound. So he knew that was, Tex. He was on the house. He was on a horsey, as he said. The other girl, oh, you're that, a white-faced girl. And the other girl had red hair. He goes, I know, I can recognize the red hair, but that was, of course, the red hair on Squeaky Fromm, was played by Dakota Fanning, who did a good performance. She was in only for a little bit, but she kind of brought out and made you feel the creepiness of her character she's playing, because just the way the Manson followers were, it's like they could just like that, like a light switch, kill you. And so you thought he was going to get killed. All of a sudden, his dog Brandy, beautiful, looked like a bull mastiff dog, a beautiful dog, even the pit bull, beautiful dog. And I love the dog. He was such a character in this movie. Or she was such a character in this character. I don't know. Maybe it was a dog playing a girl. Sometimes the girl dog plays a boy dog in the movies, so on TV shows. So, and he starts, just ripping into Tex, again, biting on his leg. He goes for his groin and just latches on. Guy's beating on the dog, And then I'm thinking, so did this happen? And then he had a wound there, and then he went to go kill Sharon Tate. I'm going, what's going on? And then all of a sudden, the girl the pale face one, as he says, comes running at him. He has a can of dog food, throws at her, pretty much breaks her face, nose, teeth, whatever. And then after Brandy's done with Tex, he goes and attacks that girl, starts ripping her apart. And then the other girl, who has Rick Dalton's wife, at knife point, she pretty much punches her out. Rick Dalton's wife punches her out, and then she attacks Rick, sticks a knife in his side, and then he just goes to town, bashing her head, her face into the fireplace mantle, to the table, to the sign that was one of the movies of Rick Dalton that he did in Italy, the Italian spaghetti western. And he pretty much beat her ass to a pulp. He looks at her face. Now you're done. throws her down. And then the other one, who's still alive, she just goes right through a damn window and into the pool where Rick Dalton's at. And he's like, what the hell's going on? And as she's struggling and she's trying to get out of the water, he gets out of the pool, goes and get a flamethrower that he used in a movie where he roasted a bunch of Nazis. And that was a great scene. That's the scene that I really liked when I saw the trailer. And then he proceeds to burn her to a crisp. And then the aftermath, we see police. They're interviewing Rick Dalton. What went on? Where were you? And all the details and all that's done. And then it's quiet. Cops have gone. They took Cliff away. They took Cliff away, and then they you see Rick at the gate there, and then J.C. Sebring is on the other side, asking him how you guys are doing. Is everything all right? He tells him, yeah, we almost got killed by these hippies. They're talking back and forth, and then you hear Sharon's voice on the intercom. She asks Rick how he's doing. Hey, you want to come on up and have a drink? Meet my friends. And then you see him get buzzed in. He walks up with Jay Sebring. He meets up with Sharon Tate. They have a hug. He meets Abigail Folger and other friends. And it's one of those things where it's like a what if. And what if this was the scenario? That they had picked on the wrong door, meaning the door that would have kept them from pursuing or continuing their murderous streak, or even starting their murderous streak. I don't know if the La Bianca murders happened before this thing, and then this is the thing that kind of spared the lives of the scenarios is spared the lives of Jay Sebring and Sharon Tate, Abigail Folger, and others. Fantasy, it's a revisionist kind of thing. But it's something that a lot of us would have liked to have seen. Sharon Tate, she wasn't well known yet. Even in that scene when she goes to see her movie, she convinced the ticket taker that I'm in the movie. Oh, who are you? She had to explain. And then as soon as they realized who she was, they let her in for free. She went in and watched the movie, The Wrecking Crew. So that she would have been, she was on her way. And people would want to see what would have happened had the Manson family not gone to their house first, but went to someone else's house, and then maybe this is what would have happened. Some people say that what if Bruce Lee, because Bruce Lee apparently he wasn't invited, him and his wife Linda, and they didn't go that night. Maybe Bruce Lee would have been able to stop them. They only had knives. Bruce Lee would have been able to unarm them, and then Jay Sebring, who was trained by Bruce Lee as well as one of his students, he would have been able to get into it and help him fend them off. What if? That's all we can say, because we know what happens. We know what happened, a tragedy when it comes to the lives of Sharon Tate, Jay Sebring, Abigail Folger, and others who didn't deserve it. Even her unborn baby didn't deserve that. The things they did, the horrific things that they did to the fetus. I just don't even want to get into it. You read what happened, taking their blood, and putting, writing pig on the walls. It's something that happened, shortly before I was born in 1969, a few months before. And it's been something that ever since I've been old enough to understand what's going on in the world, I heard about these stories and stuff. And I'm like, whoa, that happened. That is like the worst thing. Charlie Manson has since gone on and he's died. He died in prison. He was there for 40 years. His followers are still in prison. They were at one time supposed to get the death penalty, but then the next year or so, California overturned death sentences, so it was turned into a life sentence type of deal, which they didn't deserve. They deserved death, seriously. This is one of those things. They could have transferred them to another state where they did death penalties. They didn't do it. But Quentin Tarantino did hit another one out of the park. Great film. The thing about it is that I have not seen The Hateful Eight, and I heard that's a great film. And I was meaning to watch that film first and watch this one, so that at least I'd be caught up with all the films. But I'm gonna watch it. I'll watch that film one of these days. I may even do it next week, baby, and do my thoughts on it and review and everything like that. But this is a great film. I like just the feel of 1960s. I like the way Tarantino, the cinematography, the way he gets everything just accurate, just blows my mind. The right cars, the right look. Taco Bell, like the Wiener Schnitzel, their Wiener Schnitzel, that's how it was known before. Even Taco Bell, the old design, they got it there. The way that the marquees for movies were from back then. Picture perfect. It was awesome, He's a great director, Leonardo DiCaprio, I can't stand him as a person of politics, things that he says and does. But that doesn't take away from me being a fan of his when it comes to his work. I watch his movies, and he's great. He's a great actor. But you have to agree to disagree. I'm not going to agree with everything he says and stuff like that. But it doesn't mean that I can't enjoy his films. But Brad Pitt, his performance was so simple, so nuanced. It was so just a straightforward, performance. It was just, like, he didn't do a lot of over emoting. He didn't try to jump off the screen. He just delivered his lines. He played his role, and I could see why he won. He was nominated first. I could see why he was nominated, but then when he won, I'm like going, good for him. I don't know if Leo was nominated. I believe he was, but I'm not sure. But he definitely deserved to win for his performance. He gave an excellent performance, Tarantino, he deserved his nominations. The director and screenwriter. I mean, he was great in this, in presenting this film. It was just awesome. It was awesome. The only thing, like I said, my stance when it comes to Bruce Lee, the way he was presented in this film, I still stand by it. What I said, I don't need to go into it again, but what I said earlier, I stand by that. But that's neither here nor there. It's one of those things where it's like, people are not ever gonna get things right. Sometimes it's their opinion. Whatever Tarantino wanted to present in this film in regards to his character, that's his choice. I'm not gonna tell him that he was an asshole for doing it. I'm gonna tell him that he was wrong for doing it. But he's gonna get a lot of backlash. He did already. But people are not gonna agree with how he presented him. But then again, to see Bruce Lee, he was part of this period of time. He was close with Sharon. He was friends with Sharon Tate and Jay Sebring. Roman Polanski, he trained him. He was a trainer of him. He was a trainer of other people. Wrecking Crew, he was the fight choreographer. He knew Dean Martin, who was the star, as Matt Helm. But like I said, I really, really enjoyed the film. I loved the tinkering with history, because we know what happened to the Tates, happened to her and her friends and everything. But to show it this way, it's one of those things where it's just like, what if they went and knocked on the wall and on another door, and then that door resulted in their deaths, and then they would not been able to go on and kill Sharon Tate and everybody else. But yeah, that's my video. My thoughts on the film Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Like I said, I enjoyed the film. Really, really an amazing accomplishment by Tarantino. If he went out on this note and didn't direct ever again, I believe he's going to direct one more film. He said 10 films, and then he's going to stop directing. If he goes out on this film, he definitely going to go down as one of the. He's already one of the greatest directors, but this film would have him go out on top. I don't know what the next film is going to be. Who knows what direction he's going to go? But this was a great film, and I really, really enjoyed it. So for those of you who stopped by and checked out my video, I appreciate it. Thank you for the support. And in closing, and as always, take care. Please remember to subscribe, click like, and click the bell icon for all notifications on this channel.